blood-soaked ground, a devil's stream. Fire rains, the battle calls. Demons dance as heaven falls. Choirs wail the damned ignite. Infernal's wrath, eternal night. Steel bites, the heavens quake. Flesh and bone, the earth will break. Ashes rain, the reapers feast. Darkness spreads, a crimson beast. Thunder cracks, the end draws near. Hope draws in the ocean of fear. Angels whip their wings in flame. Lost to the void, none remain. Fire rains, the battle calls. Demons dance as heaven falls. Choirs wail the damned ignite. Infernal's wrath, eternal Echoes fade, the war is done. A blood-red sky, a blackened sun. Souls consumed, no path to light. Hail victorious, endless night.
Hello! Hello, world! How we doing today? I hope we're doing well. I hope we're doing well. Let me get my face on screen. Hello, hello. I hope we're doing well. It is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. It is August 26th. It is going on 3 o'clock, and it is not as hot today. It's still a little warm outside, but it's more of a gentle warmth today. It's more of a casual hot day, not quite as intense, not quite as abrasive, or as I like to say, not as oppressive. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's staying safe out there. I hope everyone's alive, everyone's well. Cops are doing some cop shit all over, let me tell you. All over, cops are doing cop shit. In my town, I got word through Instagram that they're doing blockings between the border of Georgia and Alabama and checking for citizenship, checking for DUIs, checking for making sure everything's safe as they round up immigrants and normalize these practices. Like, I've been talking ever since I started streaming and ever since I moved back. That there's been a lot more cops than I remembered. I was just talking to somebody the other day, being downtown and seeing like 8 cops all at one moment, and just the horror around that of just like the like how intertwined it already is in the community. How many Nazis I know are in the community. How many transphobes, how many Zionists, racists. It's disheartening, but That's why we have things like One Piece. I was feeling a little bit down. I took a little bit of a weekend to relax and take care of some things and do some mental health work and take care of myself a little bit. And it was a, I'd say, pretty good time. All in all, it was hopefully productive. But I was still feeling a little bit ill, feeling a little down, and so I put on One Piece, and that solved my problems yet again. I had stockpiled a couple of episodes. I had been biding my time, waiting patiently for the moment that I needed to strike. Let's play a game. I want to play a game. We'll talk politics at some point. What game do we want to play? And so I was we'll do Stardew. Stardew would be nice and easy. So I turned on One Piece, and that made me feel a little bit better. That solved most of my problems, as usual, as I've mentioned. Wonderful show. If you haven't watched it, I recommend reading it, but I've been saving a couple of episodes specifically for a time like right now. Because I knew that they were specifically good and inspirational and would make me feel good things, so I've been saving a couple episodes, and I treated myself to 2 of them today, and I've got good news. I have one more. I've got one more for after the stream. But as always, I'm just amazed at the way that One Piece is able to inspire hope. At least in me personally. I hope everybody has that sensation. I know it can be difficult. I certainly have problems with dealing with these sorts of things, but you got to find what you can out there to latch on to and that bring you joy, and you find it. I hope it continues to bring you joy. Luckily, One Piece isn't ending anytime soon. It's at a great part of the story right now, though, specifically Egghead. Egghead is a wonderful section, wonderful arc to be in. I just got to see 2 characters animated on screen for the first time that I haven't seen. They were animated like 20 years ago, over, I think now. Oh, thanks, Willie. Yeah, they were animated a very, very long time ago. And I finally got to see them on screen for the first time, and well, for me, not long, because I've seen the show so many times, but I watched it yet again and enjoyed seeing familiar faces. It was quite lovely. There's my other green bean. I think I can sell these 9. Yeah, it's a great time to be a One Piece fan, that's for sure. No time like the present. Oops, oops. Oh! I just switched to a new controller. So we're gonna just start that day over real quick. Yeah, I just got a new controller, and this is my first time using it in Stardew, so that's a great way to get started. Speaking... Oh, what was the weather tomorrow? Everything's fine, everything's good, everything's great out here. Oh wait, I should turn on the... I'm doing swell, I know what's happening. There we go. Let's take you and put you down to like there. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Let's pull you up and pull you out to like there. No, no, no. All right, now we're cooking with gas. Now we're cooking with gas. Don't worry, everybody. I'll know what I'm doing at some point in my life. It won't be today. It won't be tomorrow, but in a couple years from now, I'll have something figured out. Yeah, I like that. Let's get rid of the... Where is it drawing that from? Why are you attached here? Let's put you... let's put you... over there. Let's bring you over here. Again, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with gas. Again, I'll get good at this at some point. I'm just far, far too lazy. Almost like far quad. We've got some... Nope, can't show that on there. Where's my other... There you are. I can close you out. I can close you out. Ah, gross. Trigger warning. Dictator. Trigger warning, ugly pig man. Oops. Oh, you go back there. Stop trying to move things. I don't like it when you move things like that. We've got all kinds of fun news out in the world right now. Our peace-loving president, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Donald Georgina Trump. Bragging about all the ways he's going to be a dictator. Did time pass? No, good. Time did not pass. He is very excited about the prospect. He claims to not be one. He claims to not want to be one, but he claims that the American people sure do want one. So that's a exciting prospect to hear. I don't know about anybody else out there. I actually don't want to live under a dictator. Despite what the despite what the God Emperor has been saying lately, that idea fills me with dread. I don't like that idea. I much prefer the idea of. Okay, no, you go there. Get out of here. Say hi to you. I almost did the same thing again. How wonderful. Let's not do that. Whee. So yeah, good old Trumpy. He is bragging about the American people wanting a dictator. You know, I mean, to be fair, his entire base probably does at this point. They're cucks to him. So I was been thinking a lot about like my interaction with people, and so far, when dealing with chatters that display like Zionism or transphobia, I've generally tried to discuss it with them and tried to debate them on the subject, despite the fact knowing that they're trolls. As I was doing a little bit of self-practice and self-validation of I was able to have these conversations in this setting, as well as get a little bit of practice with it. But I feel a little bit more confident now, and I think now the answer is just going to be to tell anybody that comes in here like that to fuck off. I think that's the easiest solution, the best solution. Like, I was thinking about like what happens and like what the future looks like, and like I've mentioned before that there has to be some sort of accountability held for the Gestapo that are rounding people up, destroying lives right now. There needs to be some kind of penalty. There needs to be some kind of justice for those who have been victimized, and reparations need to be made. Like, Kilmar Brega Garcia was deported from this country wrongfully. The country admitted that they did it wrongfully and then refused to bring him back. Eventually, we fought to get him back. I say we. He was brought back eventually through pressure and through obvious propaganda machine failing for a change. And through that effort, he has been brought back, consistently harassed since being back, and now they want to send him to. I need to go buy the backpack. Now they want to deport him again. They're going to round him up and deport him again. So that's very exciting to hear. We love to see victims being re-victimized over and over. We love to see this man who's already been tortured by the government in El Salvador. We've already seen him give his statement on his torture experience and the ways he has been harassed and the ways he's been abused. And now we're going to continue to dehumanize him, and we are going to make his life all the more worse, because we got to see what we can get away with. We gotta see how far we can take this thing before somebody's willing to do something, I guess. Who's that? Is that Jojo Mart? Yeah, fucking Morris. Get out of here. Nobody likes you, Morris. Fucking capitalists. People ask me sometimes if I ever have an interest in doing a JoJo run, and I laugh in their face. I spit in their face upon even asking such a stupid question. I have the fiberglass rod. We're going to keep that for now. What are my levels? I'm level 4 in farming, 2 in mining, 2 in foraging, fishing 6, and combat 1. I guess we need to go to the mine. I guess we need to go practice on some things in the mine. Hey there, George. How are you? Do you like that? That's a terrible gift. I'm sorry. More you know. That's easily the most neglected part of this game for me is dealing with the NPCs in the game, all the characters. But yeah, when we talk about like the reparations that need to be made, like they're again like they're, as I would call it, based off the definition, acting as terrorists towards Kilmar Berger Garcia. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely abhorrent. You know who I always do take care of though? Linus. Always gotta take care of Linus. But the treatment is absolutely disgusting, and it's only going to continue and get worse until individuals are ready to do something about that, whether that be at the legislative level and our cowards of representatives actually start doing something to protect its citizens, or where that's the people resisting. You know, there's we have the National Guard now that's being that's carrying weapons mainly as a show of force and a tactic of intimidation. Like, you know, it's going to be really fun going to the voting polls since now you can't mail in your ballot. Now since you can't mail in your ballot, we run into the problem of people are going to have to go stand in the polling lines until, you know, I don't know, 6 a.m. People are going to not be able to vote because they have work. It's going to be more difficult for people to vote. And if you are able to get to the polling place, you then get to stand in the hot line where I believe it's still illegal for you to be given water while standing in line in most places. You'll get to stand in this hot line, not have any treats while you're there. And at the end of it, you will, or rather the whole process, you'll have the National Guard beside you carrying weapons, carrying automatic weapons. Like the idea of the National Guard are setting up in city to use their weapons. The only reason they would need weapons would be to use them on civilians, right? So why do we have them with weapons? That feels a little crazy to me. It's almost like we're living under an authoritarian government already. And Trump wants to joke about, oh, I think the American people might want to have a dictator. I think they might too. They already do. 40% of the country is brainwashed. You can't do anything about that brainwash. Because the problem with the brainwash is that it does the brainwash, you know, like Nazism doesn't come from a place of logic. It comes from a place of fear, paranoia, hatred, usually sexual repression, usually fear of sexual expression, you know, insecurities to a major degree, and through all of that, through all those different things, when you try to talk to a Nazi or you try to talk to a conservative, if you know, the Venn diagram is a circle at this point, but if you try to talk to these fuckers, like, you can't reach them with logic because their hatred isn't found in logic. Their hatred is just found in, you know, bigotry and lack of education and misunderstanding of like like common like school subjects. Like the de-education process has been effective. Like luckily, you know, that's only going to be continue to decrease with the further use of AI. Oh, it's all a drain. It's all just a drain. Like, how do you stop it? I know far leftists that would say through violent retribution. But like as always, the capitalists want to pretend as though we aren't inflicting violence every single day, and I say we as in all of us, through our continued usage of products. Obviously, like we've all heard there's no such thing as ethical consumption, but Oops. Okay, so B is how I open my inventory. That's why I keep on doing that. That makes a lot of sense. Would have been nice to figure that out earlier. But because you're not dealing with facts and logic when it comes to dealing with these people, these Nazis, you can't argue with them. There's no point to argue with them, because you're not going to reach them. They're victims of a cult, you know. They're just going to lash out. They're just going to you know, once they realize that they're in a logic circle and they don't have an answer to something that makes sense and is consistent, then they lash out, then they deflect, they change the subject, and they don't care because there's no holding them accountable. And for every one that's online, there's 20 more that are offline, and, you know, not engaging with people in this way, just hold their private thoughts and keep it to themselves. Instead of actually addressing these issues, they keep it to themselves. They hold their bigotry inward and they suppress it. But, you know, when it comes to still going to the voting polls, when it still comes to going to the voting booth, they still vote for the dictator. They still vote for the fascist because, you know, he's the one that they're the victims of. But, like, what does the re-education system look like for these people? I mean, like, or like even like basic education system. I know people get horrified when they hear the word re-education, but like, there is no education. Like, I was talking just the other day to somebody specifically about the way in which like transphobes love to deflect from the issue by you know, pointing the blame towards the victim. So like specifically when we look at like misgendering people, specifically if it's somebody that's knowingly misgendering somebody, like the violent act is the misgendering. That is the disrespectful moment. And when and yet when the person that's been, you know, hurt or harmed or made to feel a way through this says something about it, the response from the conservative or Republican side is, oh, I didn't mean anything by it, or oh, you're making something out of nothing. Why does this always have to go back to like the trans ideology? Why do you always have to make this about something political? It's like, okay, at this point, like, either you're just an idiot and you don't understand how the English language works, or you simply are being a bigot and refusing to address pronouns in an accurate way because you believe it has some political motivation, as opposed to, you know, again, it's just a matter of like basic respect and just treating people with like a little bit of dignity. Like, I can tell you, every single cis person that I've ever misgendered in public has gotten really butthurt about it. It's happened plenty of times, specifically growing up in the South, and this is something that I had to grow through, and this is something that I had to work through. I was raised to always refer to people as sir or ma'am, especially growing up, and so when I'm in a customer service setting, I resort back to that a lot, as it's a sign of, like, you know, respect and like politeness, and so like a lot of the problems that I had growing up in the South, and so when I started work, was that I would misgender people, and these were, generally speaking, or as far as I knew, cis people. They just did not present in a way that, you know, was traditionally masc or femme. And every single time that I ever did that as a you know, a 17-year-old or 18-year-old front counter attendant at a bowling alley, working his first job, just venturing out into the world, and I misgendered a cis person, they made the biggest fucking deal about it. Like, have you ever actually called a boomer woman yes sir? I recommend giving it a try if you just want to, like, go down to, you know, go down to Kentucky, go to Oklahoma, go to somewhere and see how fast it takes when you misgender somebody for them to lose their shit. That's a fun experiment that I love to play. I'm writing a script right now for a YouTube video that revolves around that. The entire video I plan on misgendering one of the more pronounced characters of a story, the story One Piece, but misgendering them the entire time, and seeing, you know, how many people just rage quit out of it and just go down to the comments and just say like, I can't believe you would call this person this way. You know, I can't believe you would misgender them. You're such a hypocrite. And it's like, oh, now you care. When it benefits you and your purposes, now you care. Like, again, testing any kind of consistency on a conservative. If you're looking for any kind of like, you know, good outcome of it, you're just going to be disappointed. I'm sad to say. There's no good answer from the Conservative Party or the Republican Party because it's just mass psychosis led by a few powerful individuals. Speaking of powerful individuals, we've got Trump saying he's going to send in the National Guard to all kinds of different cities. All over the place he's going to be sending in the National Guard. Very exciting. Very exciting stuff. He refers to specific places like Chicago, places like Baltimore, places like, I think, Atlanta as well now. You know, obviously very black heavy populations because we got to maintain the racism. Excuse me. I got air in my belly. But as he talks about sending the National Guard into all these places, not only is it a continued show of force, not only is it a continued manner of intimidation, not only is it a opportunity for escalation. You know, the moment a National Guard member is actually required to use the arms that they're now equipped with is the moment martial law is officially declared. Like I watched we watched on stream the other day the video of the Powerpuff Girls, or rather what were the boy Powerpuff Girls called? The what was it, the like Mucus Boys or something like that? Powerpuff Girls boy versions. The Rowdyruff Boys. Yeah, it's JD Vance, Pete, and Steven Miller. The other day, their little picture, their little photo op. It's just the Rowdyruff Boys. I always knew they were real. I always had faith. Not in your God, but in the Rowdyruff Boys. Oh, all these Nazis everywhere. But yeah, it's an opportunity to for escalation by the hands of the National Guard. An opportunity for escalation from, you know, a concerned citizen that is enraged or, you know, wrongfully abused, and, you know, they defend themselves, and then all of a sudden there's violence in the streets, that sort of thing. Like, that's that opportunity is only going to grow more opportune and more fervent as these things persist, and as conditions worsen for people, as things get more desperate for people. It's really ironic the way in which specifically the rural states that are the most, like, you know, hive mind are going to be the ones that are, like, most drastically and most immediately affected by all of this. Like, they're already the poorest part of the country with very limited job prospects, but they also have a very difficult time already to have things like, I don't know, trucks being delivered. There's plenty of food deserts in the rural parts of the country, believe it or not, where and supply deserts where you can't get a hold of the things that you need. And in those situations, those problems are only going to worsen as we have less truck drivers, because we, you know, get rid of the 65 million Latino people that are in the country, and plenty of them are truck drivers. We're going to lose a plethora of people there. As people lose health insurance and they no longer are able to maintain their health, they're going to grow sick. More people are going to die. We're going to lose more people for jobs. It's going to be a cyclical process, and the poorest parts of the country are going to consistently be the worst off through all these outcomes. Like Meemaw and Peepaw out in Oklahoma are not going to be surviving the great the great tariff wars. Yeah, I think I heard on the 29th that tariffs are going to be Oh, I went the wrong way. It's bedtime. What am I doing? That tariffs are going to be not expanded upon, but they're going to be closing a loophole that they've been using. There's a loophole that allows for certain products under a certain amount to come into the country without going through the current tariff process. This is going to change, and those companies are now going to, at the very least, instead of being able to get through with no tariffs, they are now going to be subjected to at least a $80 fine per the shipment, and then if it's past a certain weight or past a certain threshold, it's going to be based off a percentage. But at the very least, every single thing that's going to be coming to the country, every single shipment is going to be at least $80 more, starting on the, I believe, the 29th. So that's something to look forward to, and again, will drastically affect the rural states, the rural communities. The most brainwashed of the MAGA heads are going to be the ones that suffer the most at the hands of this. You know, us city slickers, us liberal elites. You know, we have luckily a bit more in terms of resources and job opportunity. While those jobs are vastly being deplenished and destroyed by AI. We have them for now, as opposed to, you know, you have your one Amazon warehouse facility that's going to be taken over by robots in like 2 months, and slave labor will fill up the rest. Like the systems that be are working very hard at the moment. Hi, comrade. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Things are getting worse over here. Things get worse all the time. But we persist. We try to do well. Trump's about to send the National Guard to everywhere he can. He's joking to the American public. You know, his jokes always end up being a little bit more than jokes. But he's talking to the American people about how they want a dictator. As I've already voiced today, I actually don't want a dictator. Nobody that I am immediately friends with wants a dictator, so I don't know where he's getting this statistic from, but yeah, he's telling the American people that we want a dictator, that the time is ripe. He doesn't want to be one, but, you know, God saved him from that assassin for a reason. If it wasn't to empower Israel like Mike Huckabee told him it was, then it was probably to, I don't know, deport more Latinos, put more homeless people in concentration camps, all the fun stuff. But I hope you're doing well and you're staying safe. It's a little bit less hot today where I am. That's very exciting. I'm always a big fan of a little bit cooler temperature. There was a nice breeze. I was able to take Oswald out on a big walk. It's National Dog Day. I don't know if you have a dog in your life, but today is National Dog Day, so to make sure to give them extra tummy rubs. Otherwise, you will go to hell. Unfortunately, I don't make the rules. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But if you are rude to any dogs today, you have to go to hell. There's all kinds of fun things happening in terms of Venezuela right now. You know, our peace-loving president. The guy is so peaceful. He loves peace. He loves peace so much that he's going to ensure peace by inflicting peace on every country. You know, continue the American manufacturing warmongering machine. Always a favorite thing to spend money on. Always a good thing to spend money on, too. We can't fix the problems that we have, like, you know, the homeless crisis that they're pointing to, the crime problem that they're pointing to. Instead, we have to, you know, bury those under a bunch of rubble. But when it comes to military spending, there's always some money to be made there. There's always a pretty penny that can go in that direction. When it comes to powerizing the military state and ensuring police have the weapons of the IDF to be able to use on the American public, that's exactly what we want. I saw a comedian the other day, and he was doing some stage work, and it was really horrifying. It was comedian John Carlo. I can't remember his last name, but he's decently funny and consistently, I think, moral leftist comedian, which is very refreshing in the sea of, you know, cancel culture, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. Very refreshing to have such a light. But the Giancarlo was doing some crowd work, and he was saying to a bunch of people in Europe, I think it was in Europe, but there was somebody from Lebanon there. There was an Iranian person there, and everybody that he spoke to in the audience said, "You have it worse in America right now. You're not doing well." I don't know everything about everything going on in Lebanon and Iran. However, from my stupid little cheesemonger knowledge that I have, it's not the best of situations. Whether that's at the hands of Israel and America or due to other reasons, I won't be the judge of that. But it's not always the best over there. God, Israel's so gross. What was I looking at a couple of minutes ago? Yes, the double tap. The double tap method Israel loves to be a part of, in which they specifically they will. Hope it's fine. I showed that on stream. They blurred it out, so I'm sure it's okay. But the way in which they will attack a place, and then once there are first responders there, once there are journalists there, they will attack a place again, known as the double tap, from my as it's been called by news correspondents. It reminds me of Zombieland, which probably isn't the best. Like, I don't know that I like that usage of language for it, but I understand the sentiment. Anyway, they used the double tap method to kill a bunch of journalists, kill a bunch of doctors, kill a bunch of photojournalists, Mariam Daga. Who else? Nope, that's not what I was looking for. Get out of there. I hate Instagram on the computer. Killed 5 journalists. Killed 5 journalists. Killed first responders. The act of genocide is absolutely horrifying. And it's happening right in front of our eyes. There's I think there's a, what is it called? Not a strike. Boycott. Boycott coming up. I thought I saw something about a boycott. I don't know why. I would assume Google would tell me. I'll try to figure out more info about that. But I believe it's on the 29th. Is a general boycott. So do everything you can not to spend money. Although I would just say to do that in general. As like, got to save everything we can right now. Every penny counts. Thousands across the globe joined rallies to demand an end to Israel's genocide and starvation to Palestinians. In the Netherlands, activists laid out thousands of shoes to represent the over 19,000 children killed in Gaza, which is most likely a false number, which is most likely an understated number. We will not know the true number for many years and will likely never know the true number of those that have been slain.
What you can see happening in Gaza right now and what happened in Africa is basically the same, because they are going through occupation, we went through colonization, we share the same colonial masters. So, and we can't just sit back and watch what is happening there, the mass murders, the genocide, the starvation, and killing of innocent children and women.
Le fait que, aux yeux de la communauté internationale, Israël fasse ce qu'il est en train de faire, piller des terres, carrément mener des génocides, quelle légitimité après on aura lorsque d'autres, par exemple des terroristes ou bien d'autres pays, se permettront de faire la même chose? Pour moi, c'est vraiment essentiel. On ne peut pas appeler quelque chose d'un côté et le repousser de l'autre. Les États-Unis ne peuvent pas, par exemple, soutenir à la guerre contre le terrorisme et l'accepter pour Israël. Pour moi, c'est vraiment une question de sécurité, mais ça commence par la justice.
Exactly. It's a matter of justice. For anybody not listening, she was talking shit about America and Israel. Israel's killed over 800 athletes since October 7th. Mohammed Shalan. While he was trying to get aid for his 6 children. 6-year-old daughter who suffers from kidney failure and blood poisoning. Nagam Abu Samra, black belt karate champion. Her leg was amputated after her sister was killed by an Israeli airstrike. How horrifying. She died in an Egyptian hospital. Like the crimes of Israel and America is going to, at some point, have to be dealt with. Suleiman al-Obaid, one of the most well-known footballers. He was killed by Israel trying to collect aid. Ahmad al-Mufti. And these are the celebrities, you know. These are the people that have names that will be remembered in history, not the countless victims that will, you know, be washed away in the halls of history.
Israeli leaders are once again talking about Greater Israel, a long-standing Zionist vision of an Israeli state that stretches far beyond the territory it currently holds. Just days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a historic and spiritual mission.
אז אתה שואל אם אני מרגיש שאני בשליחות היסטורית ורוחנית?
Historically and spiritually,
It's a
the answer is
statement with
yes.
huge
It is an
implications,
Israeli
not just for
state.
Palestinians, but for the whole region. Because it comes during Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza, land grabs in Lebanon and Syria, and wars of aggression across the region. But to really understand why Netanyahu's words matter, it's important to recognize the role Greater Israel visions play in the Israeli national psyche, because it's not a new idea. Well before Israel was established, early Zionist leaders cited biblical texts to envision an Israeli state that would stretch across the region. Zev Jabotinsky, venerated by Netanyahu as his ideological mentor, envisioned a state of Israel that would include the territory of Jordan. The Viennese journalist Theodor Herzl wanted the state of Israel to stretch from the Euphrates River in Iraq to the Nile in Egypt.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't
Even
like
when
Shane
Zionist
anyway.
leaders accepted the 1947 UN partition plan, they saw it as a temporary tactical move. Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, made clear this was just a step toward eventually gaining control of all of the land he envisioned as Israel. In other words, what Zionists agreed then could later be expanded by force. And that's exactly what happened. In the War of 1948, Israel expanded the land it controlled far beyond the UN partition lines, and it ensured a Jewish majority in the Nakba by expelling more than 80% of the Palestinian population. In 1967,
Also known as the
Israel seized
Nakba.
the West Bank, Gaza, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai. And ever since, it has used facts on the ground, settlements, outposts, and military zones to keep expanding its territory across the West Bank. For decades, Israeli leaders avoided publicly expressing support for Greater Israel. But Netanyahu's recent comments shows that Israel's expansionist goals are becoming increasingly mainstream. Some Israelis have openly invoked Nazi Germany's Lebensraum doctrine, land conquest for living space, to justify Israel's territorial expansion. And Israeli soldiers have even been spotted wearing Greater Israel patches in Gaza. And those symbols aren't just rhetoric, they speak to a deeper reality. Because Israel has never set fully fixed borders, keeping its territorial ambitions deliberately open-ended. In fact, most of Israel's current borders are armistice lines from past wars. And even within Israel, there's no consensus on where the country ends. There's a reason Israel has never officially...
Like I was talking the other day about the way in which the Palestinians are tied to this land. Not only do they have a claim to it based off their presence there and their history there and their culture there, but they've also been displaced specifically by Israel and forced into concentration camp, open-air prisons for the past 77 years. The ongoing apartheid state has completely disadvantaged them, but through every act of trauma that they inflict on the Palestinians, the only thing that they do is deepen their ties to the country. The only thing that they do is strengthen the relationship and the emotional strength of their will towards staying there. You know, when you hear Palestinians talk about like what they're doing or like what their plan is, their response is there is no plan. What can we do? You know, I'm going to stay because this is my home and because I have nowhere else to go. Like they're being ethnically cleansed. There is no option for them, and all the meanwhile across all politics in this country, across all you have a star. Across all the ongoing discussions about like whether or not Israel is actually committing a genocide and whether or not they're actually doing the things that the Palestinians say that they are. You know, why would we believe the victims as they are able to have us fight over all these little specific non-issues? Everything is allowed to continue. Everything's allowed to progress. Everything's allowed to go according to plan. You know, I initially got an Instagram because I wanted to go look at Taylor Swift's profile, but like she announced that she's getting married, and like I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. I think it's funny that you announce you're getting married, you know, right in line with your right in line with your album release, your soon to be album coming out. I don't know when she has said something about Palestine. Let's find out together. Nope, that's the wrong quick link. Taylor Swift. All right, so here's the pinned. Here's the first one. 15.1 million. Like you have the audience. Life of a Showgirl, brand new album. Like, come on. You have an army behind you. You have an army behind you, and what are you using your voice for? Not shit. Let's go to see if I can get on Twitter. I deleted my account, so I don't know if it'll let me go in. Looks like no. Let me just see if I can go to Taylor Swift Palestine. Well, there's Swifties for Palestine. That's exciting. Yeah, it won't let me into X, it looks like. How lame. So Swifties for Palestine is not her organization, it's her fans that have come together for it. I don't care about this enough to dive deeper. The point being, it's gone on too long. It needs to fucking end, and the fact that there's actually nothing that's going to end it is really heartbreaking. I hope every day to be proven wrong on that fact. I hope every day that an end will come to this, but I don't see what that looks like.
Declared its full borders. It keeps them intentionally vague. This ambiguity has always been part of the plan, allowing for territorial expansion whenever opportunities arise. Because if Israel's borders aren't officially set in stone and it wages war with impunity, what's to stop them from expanding?
Like attacking Iran or Sudan or Lebanon.
Israeli leaders are once again talking about Greater Israel, a long-standing
all the
Zionist
places
vision
that they
of an
consistently have been violent towards. I like AJ Plus. It's usually my first source for updates towards a lot of things, but we have warships going towards Venezuela. We have Maduro activating, I believe it was 4.5 million militiamen across the nation. As we send in, from last I heard, the numbers were 3 warships and 4,000 Marines off the coast to, I don't know, ensure freedom and maintain safety for them, because we're just so sweet and caring. So we have Maduro activating his military in response and getting organized in response. Because Trump is such a peace-loving president, we have no reason to worry about a war starting there, or us going to fight there. We also don't need to worry about the fact that we are poising to start bombing Mexico. You know, again, our peace-loving president starting talking about how we need to address the cartel in Mexico with bombs. I can't wait to see what that ends up doing. Let's see. First time chat. Cheat viewers on Stream Boo. Oh, how exciting. Fuck out of here. How do I follow Whisper? Follow, ban. That's how you ban people. Cool. We did it, everybody. We learned something new today. That's what you got to keep doing. Education is liberation. I think about like my own like transphobia that I used to have, and my own like sexual frustrations and insecurities that I used to like put out towards others, and my own problems. And it was only through like learning more about myself, learning more about like psychology, about like ingrained misogyny, about like, you know, repressed homophobia, all these various things that I was able to get over these issues. But unfortunately, any conservative I've ever talked to refuses to go down any path similar to that, whether it has to do with anything that we've talked about today, whether it has to do with religion. Oh my gosh, trying to have an honest conversation about religion with a conservative, that can be a real tit twister, for for lack of a better word, or at least I didn't have a better word in that moment, but it can be a real tit twister. Let's do some fishing. We made it to floor 20, yay! Anyway, I hope everyone's having a good day out there. I hope everybody's being safe. I hope crime isn't rampant. I hope murder isn't happening everywhere. I hope bedlam isn't taking hold in our pristine cities. But yeah, we're talking about in order to deal with the cartel bombing Mexico, which does not feel like my favorite path to success. The plan seems to be like we're gonna do a ghost fish. It seems to be like we're gonna do Afghanistan, but in our own backyard. That's what the American people want. When the American people elected Donald Trump, they gave him the authority to do whatever the fuck he wants. You know, that's what they've been telling me anyway. I've never heard that logic applied to any Democrat that's ever won, or any Republican really before Donald Trump, used to the same degree by Republicans. But this time it's different. This time it's the real time, because it's best for them, I guess. Makes me sick. Makes me want to throw up. Ooh. Oh, I got an iridium ghost fish. That's sick. Fuck. I didn't want to do that. Pardon my French. Lots of copper. Anyway, let's listen to some news. Is there anything else? What's else is happening? Yeah, 3 warships. Trump admin had offered a 50 million bounty for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. That's really cool. That's called him one of the largest narco traffickers. Denied the allegations. Designated as terrorist organizations to pave the way for U.S. to incite violence in other Latin American countries. This represents a region to the peace and stability of the region and constitutes a flagrant violation of international law coming from the ALBA TCP Latin and Caribbean Trade Bloc. Yeah, we've always had a long history of interventions under the guise of its war on drugs. Yeah, Nothing new. Same trick. Same pony, different name. Same pony, different name. In YouTube land, we've got all kinds of fun things. Let's listen about this dictatorship.
The Democrats better get smart, and you know, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it will be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago.
Slob like Pritzker.
Right
All right.
and
Coming from Trump, slob is funny.
And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person.
He's very
And
smart.
when I see what's happening to our city.
He's told me that.
And then you send in troops. Instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to all of you, in a certain way, we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control, you know, out of control. So we go in and fix it. They take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning. They're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set record lows. They don't say that we're there with very tough people, by the way. They have to pass a toughness test. Otherwise, they're not working for us. So, and we're allowed to do that now according to the United States Supreme Court decision. Now, they have to pass a toughness test. If they're not tough, we don't want them for this job. They might be great for other jobs, but not for this job.
What is
They're
the?
respected. You saw the
They've got to take a toughness test. What is this? The salty spittoon? They've got to take a toughness test. You got to eat a bowl of nails without any milk. What? It's a fucking idiot.
gang of kids. They were all huddled up, and a group of soldiers walked up. They never even got over. Those kids ran back to their homes or wherever the hell they came from. They were gone. This is one of the safest cities right now in the world, as crazy as that sounds. And it took 7 days. It took really 3 days, but we're now in our 11th day. So I want to, and they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom.
That's
He's
funny. That's really funny. Yeah, I love hearing that from him. I love hearing him say these words in this order, in this specific way. That's a really fun thing that's happening. Gotta take a toughness test. We don't want any non-tough people, like we don't want any non-tough people like the Rowdyruff boys. We don't want nobody like non-tough people in our party, like these little twigs, like these little Nazi pigs. Speaking of slops, like, isn't Pete Hegseth like the messiest dude in the entire world? From my understanding, he can't get through like a single meeting without having like 12 shots, or else he gets the tremors. Where'd my Rowdyruff boys picture go? I want to get that back up for a thumbnail. The Rowdyruff boys. All right, so so in this essay, I will point out the similarities between the Rowdyruff boys and the main Nazi squad. We'll figure out all the deviancy between them. So I lived in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for a little over, I think, 2 years. It was a wonderful time. I loved that city. It was an incredible place. The only reason that I left it really was the cold. It was so cold for so long, and it was so far from my family. But I love Chicago. It was an incredible experience, an incredible place, and I will be the first to say there was crime in Chicago. You had instances where there was over policing, and instead of like actually having like mental health specialists that were prepared to deal with those issues, you have cops that deal with them. You have escalations through that. You have violence through poor communities, like you do Can't remember your Discord name. What's it? Is it the same name as on here? No, it's I haven't been on Discord for a couple days. I was sick. Hello, what's up? Yeah, I was not feeling well for a couple days, so I was off the computer. I have not been active, but what were we talking about? I lived in Chicago for quite a while, and the entirety of the time that I lived there, like, sure, there was crime that happened, but you know, it was no different than the crime that I currently have in the place I live now. It's no different than crime in Atlanta, or crime in DC, or crime in, you know, Oklahoma. Like, crime is going to happen wherever you are. It's generally a matter of, like, poverty that produces crime, and a lack of material conditions that produce crime in this way. And the idea that it's anything else is pretty funny. Like, sure, you have, you know, violent crimes here and there that take place, but majority of crimes are going to be, you know, light drug offenses, are going to be related to maybe, you know, some domestic violence or something of the sort. Did we connect there? I thought we did. I'll pull it up, see if I can't find the yeah, I've got a pending. Is that the... Starts with a T, but it won't show me the full name. Yeah, I'll just accept it and hope it's fine. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? That's what I always say. But the idea that, like, these places are bedlam and overrun with crime, and, like, they're going to be asking us to go in and fix these places is silly. These places are doing fine. Chicago's a well-run city in a lot of ways. There's plenty of ways in which it sucks. Oh, no, you're fine. There's plenty of ways in which Chicago sucks, and there's plenty of ways in which it fails its citizens and its the people that live there by letting people fall through the cracks of social safety nets, through, you know, safety issues, through inconsistent buses. You know, there's all kinds of problems that the city has, but there's also plenty of bonuses, like the fact that Chicago, I was able to get a 2-bedroom for cheaper price than a 2-bedroom in my town of 200,000 people. Like, the I would consider that a bonus, actually having affordable places, like a 2-bedroom for $1,200 in, like, the decently middle of the city. Excuse me, I've never heard of such a thing, not in this economy anyway. There we go. That's a perfect place for chat. I'm so smart. I feel like a genius right now. Anyway, again, the idea that these places are bedlam and crime-ridden is absolutely silly, is absolutely ridiculous. Sure, there's crime that happens, but not to the extent that the administration is saying, not to the level that we need this sort of interference from the administration. It's just a mechanism for them to be able to continue their violence and push their agenda and do all those fun things. We had... Not that. No, stop it. I didn't want that to happen. We had earlier, where did it go? The tipping points. So, speaking of these cops, let's see what they have to say about Dems being anti-safety.
And welcome to Hannity. And now the left in America is in complete meltdown mode after the new hero, alleged MS-13 gang member, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, is back in the headlines facing possible deportation to
Still calling him
Uganda
an MS-13
after being
agent.
arrested by ICE today.
Wrongfully.
Let not your heart be troubled. Democrats did their part to help him. They were singing songs outside the ICE office in Baltimore. I don't get the singing. Maybe you can figure it out for me. Take a look.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Kilmar is our neighbor, you can't have him drum. Let him free.
As serious as this is, and as important as it is to take these matters with a tone of integrity and a tone of seriousness, you gotta be honest. That's really fucking lame. I want Kilmar Abrego Garcia home, but, like, if it's at the cost of doing this in public, I don't know. I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch for me, guys, gals, NBs. Joking, of course. Of course.
Oh, and Garcia's BFF in the U.S. Senate, Senator Chris Von Hollen, needed one more meeting with the alleged wife-beater gang member. Now, DHS Secretary Chris
Neither of those are
joined
true.
us with more in just a
Defamation
moment.
on
Plus,
national
3
level.
million people,
Crazy.
They have now signed a petition asking my governor, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, to show leniency towards the illegal immigrant truck driver accused of killing 3 in a deadly crash. You might recall this is the illegal that was allowed unvetted into the country. He came through the sanctuary state of podcaster and Trump wannabe Gavin Newsom.
Propaganda.
And in California was given a commercial driver's license. Also got one in Washington State, but it turns out he can neither read English or speak English or read road signs. Want to sign that petition? Will Governor DeSantis?
In order to have a commercial truck license, you have to go through the trucker's test, and you have to go through the certification process in which you're given a test in English. Also road signs are specifically pictures and numbers for that exact purpose. Again, the idea that we need to be rounding these people up because they don't speak English and they don't read English. Therefore, they're an illegal who's driving a truck endangering the lives of every American in the country is absolutely sick and disgusting. Really, really gross. Really gross.
Listen to these people. Wouldn't count on it. He'll join us. That's also coming up. But first, we as a country, these are things you usually say during an election. You know, it's a tipping point. It's an inflection point for our country, even though it's not an election year. It truly is. This is a time, a moment, unlike any other that I've seen in my lifetime. Now, you have the Democratic Party. They have moved so far to the radical left that it is now being led by a Marxist, Kami Mamdani, the Squad, Grandpa Bernie,
Jesus.
Senator Pocahontas, Massachusetts, Jasmine Crockett, and California Governor Nutty Gavin Newsom. We'll have more on Nutty Newsom in a minute. But first, on every single issue, Democrats, they come down on the wrong side, and it's impacting all of your lives. Over the last 7+ months, President Trump has been working tirelessly to fix every single disaster Joe Biden
First, I think it's funny that I am stranded in this section of the game. I can't proceed down further into the mines because this rock is blocking my path. So that sucks. But on a more important note, every time I watch like Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or any of these bigots on TV, I always go back to thinking like these are the people that are like in our grandparents' homes. These are the people that have invaded it, like past the barrier of like the threshold of your door that we keep sacred ever since we came up with the stories of vampires and to maintain the need for private property. The way in which they've infiltrated the home and been able to brainwash so many people is really scary. Like the way that they've like I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago about their conservative family, and the fact of the matter is, like, at the end of the day, you're not with your family member every day. If you're already out of the house, if you're living on your own, and maybe you don't have a very close connection with your family, maybe you only talk every so often, what have you. You're not in the home to be able to like see what's going on or see what they're taking in or see what media is happening in front of their eyes necessarily. But like, as far as they're concerned, Tucker Carlson, maybe not Tucker anymore, but Sean Hannity, the Five, Brian Kilmeade, I think is his name. These are their best friends. These are their family. At least like this is who they spend all of their time with. They keep Fox News playing in the background all day. So like if they're not getting an equal amount of like, as they would put it, leftist propaganda, as opposed to what I would call it as just like, I don't know, rational thinking, and allowing like your neurons to fire in the way they're meant to. If you just get past that, then I think we could make some headway. But it's just impossible to get past. Like you just don't spend as much time with them as these ghouls on TV do. Whispering into their ear as they stroke their cheek and say, "Loosen up," and tell them Trump is doing everything right to fix this country, and Democrats just get in the way, and they can say, "Okay, well that's all I need to hear. Democrats doing Democrat things, getting in the way. No need to look any further. Why would we need to do that?"
Kamala Harris left behind with big, necessary, transformational changes. He has set the economy up for a boom economy, great success, opportunity, millions of high-paying career jobs.
Not really.
To end wars, and he is ending them all over the world. He cleaned up the disaster
like
at the
Gaza
border.
and
The
Ukraine,
border is now
like the
really
genocide in
closed,
Gaza and the
really
war in
secure,
Ukraine,
and
the
he's now supporting
invasion of
illegal
Ukraine.
immigrant
Cool.
criminals. He's cracking down on crime, but while President Trump is making bold action to make Americans safer and your life safer and your family safer and more prosperous, Democrats, they have done nothing but resist, to the point that they have simply embraced the insanity, and they're embracing it more every day. They are the party of criminal, illegal immigrants. They are supporting the Green New Deal madness, which in and of itself is Marxism, isn't it?
I just want to not be
energy
burned alive,
policies.
you know?
They're still wanting to spend hundreds and hundreds of billions
I just want to walk
of dollars on
outside and not be
solar
like
panels
ovened by
and
the
wind
sun.
farms and take away your plastic straw.
I don't think
and
that's
tell
too
you
crazy.
What type of refrigerator and air conditioner you can have. They were against the largest tax cut in American history. They were against no tax on tips and overtime for hardworking American families. They didn't even support lower taxes on Social Security for our seniors. They don't want to build up our nation's defense, the next generation of weaponry. Now, when President Trump stood up to protect women's sports, Democrats, they fought for the right to keep biological men in women's locker rooms.
Got to make
and
it about
in
the
women's
trans.
athletics.
We got to make it, you know, we got to fear monger about the trans. Democrats hate safety because, you know, they want to expose your kids to, you know, non-cis white people is the gist of it. They want your children to be exposed to straight white people. And if you don't fit into that margin, then you're just one of the others, and you need to be you need to go away. That's the point of everything they're doing, everything they're saying. And if we're going to continue to pretend that that's not the case, then I'm going to lose my mind. The fact of the matter is that if you're a conservative at this point, if you're a Republican at this point, you're a Nazi. I don't know what else to tell you. Like it's happening in front of our eyes. Israel is committing its final solution against the Palestinians as we speak. Their ethnic cleansing is coming to an almost full completion as they have fully occupied what remains of the Gaza Strip. Fascism's taking over in America, and 40% of the country says, "Yay, please more, daddy." The environment itself is actually like. When we talk about the environment, things have progressed to a point like we are going to have very significant damage done to us, to people all over the world. It's not something that we can just fix at this point. It's not something that we can just undo at this point. It's going to happen regardless. At this point, it's simply just a matter of what are we going to do to deter that? How are we going to, what preparations are we going to make ahead of that time? There's a fucking fly in here. You use a bomb to clear the rock. Oh, I could use a bomb to clear the rock. Thank you for the help. Sorry, I only just now saw that. Sorry, I'm only just now getting to it. I forgot I could use a bomb to clear them. I forgot about that. But as we, as these things happen, as these things persist, I'm led to believe that there's nothing more that we can do. Thank you. No, I appreciate the help. Again, education is liberation. The more you know, the better. The more I know, the better. I've got a smooth, hard brain. I need to create more lumps and ridges and valleys and moisten it up. I'm only going to do that one way, and that's learning more about Stardew Valley. That's all that's going to make it happen. That's not true. One Piece will do it as well. I was saying earlier I was down and out, and then I watched One Piece, and now I'm all better. All better now. It's fine. But the idea that we need to be talking about, you know, the way in which the Democrats, I go back to Sean Hannity, we look at the way Democrats are, you know, not taking safety seriously. Fixed me, all of them. All of One Piece fixes me every day. Specifically, the new, I saved 3 episodes. I've watched 2 of them, but got to a good part of the story with a lot of emotion. So, had a nice little cry. Had a nice little couple of episodes I watched. But oh no, wrong button. But back to with like Sean Hannity here, like. You really want to spend airtime right now talking about like the trans plight of America while the genocide is ending or entering its final solution, but while it's entering its ending stages? Like, you really, that's the priority, is to fearmonger about trans people? No, that's not that's not the issue, and also it never was an issue. You know, Democrats are doing everything wrong, and we are, you know, the ones that are making up these problems to begin with. Is the Venn diagram is a circle, and it's very frustrating to hear.
On foreign policy, apparently President Trump can't do anything right, even as he tries to create lasting peace around the world. In 7 months, President Trump has had a...
As they bring up his list of all the deals and the piecings that he's done, as he, you know, poises to attack Venezuela. As he starts floating the idea of sending bombs into or rather bombing Mexico in order to you know, fight the terrorist cartels. Now that they've been designated terrorists, we have the right to be able to, you know, Afghanistan them just like we did to Afghanistan, but now it'll just be, you know, next door. As we have all these things going on, Sean Hannity here decides that the important thing is to talk about the way in which the Democrats are failing Donald Trump, and that we need to all get in line because he's the peacekeeping president, because he cares about peace. You know, he kept his promise that on day 1 he was going to end the conflict in Ukraine and oh wait, no, he didn't do that, did he? Well, he said that he was going to end everything in the Palestine Gaza mess, whereas I think his phrasing that he used. So he's going to finish that up, right? It won't just be, you know, the ethnic cleansing that he's been talking about that's going to be the finished product, right? That's not what he's talking about. No, he's the peace-loving president that sent in National Guard to every city across the country with weapons for the betterment of society. He's the peace-loving president. Fucking conservative idiots. I look at my family members and just like think about, like, you're just this fucking stupid. Like, how do you look at your family member and just think, like, you voted for this and you still defend this and you still fundraise for this? Go fuck yourself. I hate it.
A huge impact bringing peace around the globe. Many radical Democrats also have gone hardcore anti-Semitic. We'll have more on that coming up. This is the new radical left's agenda. They have completely lost touch with everyday Americans, which is why they are losing more support every day. In a 4-year period of time, 2020 to 2024, there's been a massive 5-point swing in favor of Republican registration versus Democratic registration. They're losing millions. Republicans are picking up millions. They're also the party of a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, weird singing, as you just saw.
That was cringe.
Well,
that singing was cringe.
Lost his mind, spending way more time trying to troll Trump on X than cleaning up the disaster he's created in California. Cares way too much about being president. But you know what, Nutty Newsom? I want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Nutty Newsom.
On this. Do not restore law and order in California. Don't rebuild the areas destroyed by the wildfires in the Pacific Palisades. Don't lower taxes, whatever you do, for the people in your state. Keep running huge budget deficits. keep up with these horrible schools you have in California, spending millions on illegals, things like Medi-Cal. Keep, running tens of billions of dollars in budget deficits. Gavin, you're doing great. I'm proud of you. Now, thank you for your attention to this matter. This is the new Democratic Party. They root against everything that makes this country great. And today, once again, they have outed themselves as anti-safety, anti-law and order. And think about this. How can any American pursue happiness? How do you pursue happiness without law and order and safety and security? Is that not a mandatory prerequisite? This morning, President Trump took another step to further his crime agenda, signing an executive order ending cashless bail. And speaking, with reporters in the Oval Office, he emphasized how important this is. Democrats clinging to the failed policies of defund, dismantle, no bail laws. Take a look.
One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was...
I don't want to do that, though. I'm not going to do that.
Don't worry about it. No cash. Come back in a couple of months. We'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And, I mean...
this is just a blatantly racist act that will just marginalize and continue to dehumanize the black population across the country, mainly the black population. It'll affect everybody to some extent or another, but it'll mainly affect the black people. And as far as Trump is concerned, that's a good thing. I mean, we look at the cities that he's been abusing as much as he can right now. And oh wait, I completed a challenge, but I can't go there yet. That's right. And the fact that he's lining the streets with as many troops and as many cops as he can, that, as we've heard from the community members themselves, aren't actually doing anything to help solve these issues. They're just escalating these issues, enacting violence on people, arresting mainly black people for the most part, arresting, a carving knife. Arresting Latinos as often as they can, arresting homeless people and clearing out their encampments and destroying their lives, and all the fun stuff that they do oh so well. The flower dance has started. I don't think anyone's gonna dance with me this year. Boo hoo. Boo hoo hoo. I also keep on hearing people talk about Trump's health and the way in which he's degrading, and yes, I completely agree. He is getting worse, his ankles and his bruised hand or whatever. But the coping I've seen online of oh, he's so close to death, he's gonna die any day now. I feel like that's a common belief around authoritarian figures is surely if there is a God, a just God, then they wouldn't allow this, and that sort of takes over and allows a comfortability of okay, well, somebody's gonna handle it, God will handle it. But even if Trump were to pass away tomorrow and the livelihoods of everybody, or rather everything shifts in terms of politics, the cult may lose its leader, and the cult may lose a lot of the masses that it has around it based off of losing Trump. However, overall, they already have the system set up in place, and the people that are in power are still already in power. Power just goes to J.D. Vance, and he just continues the process. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Right now, if all of the National Guard that are taking up, that are going to be taking up space across the city, if all of these National Guard members, will you dance with me? Mom makes you do it. Gonna have to say no? Oh well. I don't know if I've met everybody yet, but this is a great opportunity to meet everybody. But yeah, it feels like a way to, at least to me, to obfuscate responsibility and dealing with this problem ourselves, and actually making meaningful change consistently, as opposed to the idea of oh well, if he just passes away, things can go back to normal. We're past normal. We're not going back to normal. Normal doesn't exist anymore for America. The damage has been done in a plethora of ways that we do not even know the extent of yet in terms of like the soft power that we've lost across the world, in terms of like all of the damage that's been done from Doge pulling U.S. aid. And oops, I did not want to ask you to dance. I want to ask Linus to dance. Why want to ask me to Linus? Why want to let me ask Linus to dance? Why is this game so ableist? What the fuck? Concerned ape. Marnie looks lovely today. Okay, creep. Yay! I've met everybody now. Good job, me. Yeah, we can start the dance.
They kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through
the mirror image of the flower dance versus Trump spewing Nazi propaganda.
Social workers instead of police
Wild.
officers that are trained. During the signing ceremony, President Trump also touted some of the accomplishments that federal authorities have made in cleaning up Washington,
The
D.C. and
juxtaposition
their
is
crime
crazy.
problem. Take a listen to this.
439 illegal alien criminals have been removed.
Show me the due
We
process.
have
Show me the court trials.
6 known gang members, some of the worst leaders of gangs anywhere in the country, MS-13. and
Show me the due
Nicaragua.
process. Show me the conviction, not just the
2
arrest.
Missing children that have been recovered. They thought they were gone. We brought them back to the family. The family started crying. They couldn't believe that they saw their child again.
Okay.
49 homeless
Cool.
encampments have been
Encampments.
removed. We like clean, we like beautiful, and we like safe, and that's what we're getting.
And homeless people aren't clean, therefore we need to
White
kill
House, since
them.
President Trump
Is what
began the
Trump said
crackdown
there.
on
Actually, that was the
DC
full
crime,
quote.
over 1,000
You can
arrests have been made,
you can trust me.
111 illegal firearms have been seized, and most importantly, D.C., our nation's capital, has gone a whopping 12 days without a single homicide.
He mentioned. He also mentioned there that they're going at that they've pulled up. How many was it? Was it 11? No, it wasn't 11.
Our nation's capital has cracked down on D.C. crime. Over 1,000 arrests have been made. 111 illegal firearms have been seized.
Over 111 legal firearms. They specifically were not going after rifles or long-range illegal firearms. They were only going after illegal handguns to the best of their ability. You know, the type of handguns that you typically see black people carry, the type of guns that you typically see Latino people carry, not necessarily the conservative hunting type of style gun. The more than 1,000 arrests. That's really cool. I want a name of every single person. I want to know the name of every single person that's been arrested, and I want to see the court case. I want to see the due process. I want to see the trial. Like, where is this information? Where do we find this information? Fox News the other day gave a list of names. They provided a list of names that had no context around them. There was no proof or way to know whether they had just told, Grok or ChatGPT to make a list of Hispanic-sounding names that they could play up on their screen. But they showed a list of names of some people, but that's, as far as I've seen, the best evidence we've gotten as far as the specific arrests.
And most importantly, D.C., our nation's capital, has gone a whopping 12 days without a single homicide, breaking the pre-COVID record. And given how successful his efforts have been in D.C., President Trump is warning other blue cities and states they may be next, telling Maryland Governor Wes Moore that he could send troops to Baltimore to help clean up the city's out-of-control crime problem there. And while saying this about Chicago, well, here's what he said. Take a look.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now.
Is it?
And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. Just look at the crime statistics.
They don't need help. They don't need your help, especially.
Even I didn't know it was that bad. That's terrible.
Now, the president's recent comments about the possibility of cleaning up crime in Chicago have led to the city's failed mayor, Brandon Johnson, to have a meltdown while threatening to, quote, rise up against tyranny and calling people to take to the streets, whatever that's supposed to mean. Sounds like a threat to me. Take a listen.
So, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people of this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
Is that a threat to rise up against law enforcement that is there to save lives, not to be outdone? Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speaking to reporters in Chicago today, where he claimed they don't need President Trump's help cracking down on crime. Yeah, they do. Take a look.
Earlier today in the
Prove
Oval
it.
Office, Donald Trump
No, they
looked at
don't.
the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city? Instead, I say, Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
Based. I don't want Trump coming in Chicago. I'll be pissed.
You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Donald Trump wants to use the military to occupy a U.S. city, punish his dissidents, and score political points.
No, Chicago does need Donald Trump's help. Over the weekend, 6 people were shot and killed in Chicago. Another 27 were injured. In fact, Democrats in Illinois have failed to control the crime crisis for decades now. On this show, we have been scrolling these names, homicide victims, murder victims in Chicago since Obama was president. Democrats haven't lifted a finger to stop this, and even now, they still don't want to keep their city safe. Why? Because, what, they hate Trump more than they would, rather have their constituents safe and secure? It's dangerous to work with him? It's no surprise. A recent poll has the Chicago mayor's approval rating at less than 7%. And J.B. Pritzker, let me give you a heads up. You're not going to be president, ever. Give up hope. This is a party that has lost their conscience and their soul and their heart and any ounce of common sense they were ever born with. This is why the country is right now at this tipping point. This is an inflection point. The radical left doubles down on dumb, dumber, and stupid and crazy and fall on the wrong side of every issue. Question is, will the country go down with them? Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
How gross. How gross, Sean Hannity. Yeah, the idea that the Democrats are the ones that don't care about safety is laughable when it's specifically the Republican policies that don't allow gun restrictions that lead to these homicides. It's the Republican policies that don't, or the Republicans that don't allow us to enact safeties that are needed, that allow specifically guns in Chicago, mostly to come from right outside the state, either from Indiana or one of the other border states. Like, the idea that it's Chicago's fault is absolutely ridiculous when most of the guns are coming from the Republican and red states around the city. Aside from that, you want to address the actual crime issue. The matter is not policing. That's not going to get rid of the crime. If your answer is to simply, make it go away and kill the crime doers, then sure. I mean, I guess you can, ethnically cleanse your population if you really want to, Republicans. However, at the end of the day, you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that means you're going to have to kill a lot of people you love. I don't know what else to tell you. You don't get to have it both ways. I'm the first one to not give the Democrats credit. I hate the Democrats. I hate the Democrats with every fiber of my being. I think they are a feckless, dickless, weak institution that needs to be destroyed and gotten rid of from the very the smallest level that we can possibly get rid of it from. However, I can still notice that the Democrats are a better option than the alternative, when this is the fucking alternative. I don't know if everyone's heard out there. Have y'all heard about what Kamala Harris has coming up? Our great leader, the great savior of the Democratic Party, who after losing the election, after shaming herself, and after adopting the same unpopular opinions and running the same campaign as Biden, after we went through that entire process with Kamala Harris, and after she went and hid away for about 8 months, she was bold enough to come back out and announce she's going on a book tour. That's right, Kamala Harris is coming out with a book. She's going to make some money. She's not doing anything to help you or me, but she's going to go on a book tour and make a bunch of money. Isn't that exciting? She's happy to come out and say that Donald Trump is being rude, but she's not actually willing to put her body on the line and to protect her constituents. Isn't that funny? I love the Democrats. You know, vote blue no matter who. God, I hate dealing with them. I was confused last week. I was complaining about Hakeem Jeffries writing his book called Stand. I confused him because I guess I'm racist or something, but I confused him with Cory Booker. But it's Cory Booker who's writing the book Stand and going on tour after he had his 25-hour speech on the Senate floor. After he had his 25-hour speech during which he didn't bring up Palestine or Gaza. After he went through that, he went ahead and announced his book tour on the subject. Chuck Schumer, as he's screaming to the Democrats that are waiting anxiously from any kind of figurehead in the party in terms of being told what to do or how they can help a situation, as we are, you know, just floundering, hoping for some kind of leader to inspire us. We have Chuck Schumer coming out and saying, "We will fight. We will win." Just in time for him to announce that he's going on a book tour. Great. Thank you very much, Chuck Schumer. Since then, you have done nothing to help, and since then, you have only gotten in the way and empowered the Republicans every step of their journey across their path towards domination. It started with him not doing anything to fight the continuation of the Big Beautiful Bill, or rather the continuing resolution, completely refusing to put up a fight in that regard, saying that it was for the betterment of the society, because if we give up Trump this one, or if we give up this one thing, then we'll be able to make sure that we're able to fight in the future, as if we're not, you know, already facing fascism, if this is not already ingrained in every institution that we have in this country, whether it's education, whether it's the job force, whether it's, you know, the way in which corporations are able to act as opposed to like citizens are able to act. You know, if I go down to the creek and I start pouring gasoline into the creek, I'm going to get arrested. If a corporation does that, they get a fine. Feels pretty crazy to me. They get all the benefits of being citizens, but get none of the repercussions, only get the good things, because we got to make sure that our capitalists can keep making money. We got to make sure that there is no ceiling to the profit margin. If there's a ceiling to the profit margin, that would be awful, because then they wouldn't be able to enrich themselves further. You know, it's like a video game. You know, you get the high score, the next challenge becomes, okay, well, now you got to get the new high score. Now you have to beat your old high score. You have to better yourself. And so the only way to better yourself is to enrich yourself further, because you don't place any value on like moral bettering or like, you know, bettering in terms of like relationships, apparently. The only bettering comes from extracting materials from the poorest in the world. The only betterment that you get out of yourself is making sure that the structures that maintain 25,000 people to starve every single day across the world, including about 12,000 children, you allowing that structure to continue is quite violent in my eyes. I don't know what I was talking about. I need our celebrities to do more. I need our celebrities to do more. You know, I talk about how I want to grow this platform and turn it into something bigger, but I don't have a large audience by any means necessary, by any means whatsoever. And yet I still want to use my time to channel my voice towards the betterment of all people. Meanwhile, you know, somebody who has a platform in which they can easily reach 15 million people in a matter of seconds, not being able to take a Instagram live story and say like, hey, we should actually like care about Palestinians and make sure like we're doing everything we can to stop the ongoing genocide. The fact that celebrities aren't willing to do that, it makes me really, really sick. Makes me really, really grateful that I have a running list in my head of all the celebrities that are doing that. Or rather, not doing anything. But, like, not to say they don't have a busy schedule, but I'm streaming for 2 hours today. Surely Stephen Colbert can find 2 hours to stream, you know, Lord of the Rings question-thon, where he can just talk Lord of the Rings and raise money for Palestinians the entire time. Right? I don't think that's too crazy of an idea. Like, sure, he's got his show. Sure, he does interviews, but, like, he's also not willing to call it a genocide on his show. Because he's forever controlled by his corporate owners, you know? You know what I mean? Why won't it let me open this? There we go. I don't have a reason for picking on Stephen Colbert specifically. I think this animosity comes from annoyance about Taylor Swift, which won't make everybody happy, but cool, I'm happy you're getting married. Could you say something about Palestine? You have an army of Swifties. Could you please say something? I know you have a schedule and your album's coming out and you need to coordinate your marriage announcement with your album release, but also, like, we're at the final stage of ethnic cleansing. Can you say something, please? Could you activate the forces? No? Okay. I'll just keep streaming, I guess. I love it. It's my favorite, actually. That was a fun video. There was a whole video earlier about talking about the nationwide crackdown. I wanted to listen to a little bit of it, but I don't have any specific moments in it that I know of.
And it's an honor.
Maybe there's a highlights that I can find.
Great job. You're doing great. Thank you very much, guys.
Why is it so quiet?
Sir, I dropped my second son off at college last week.
I don't care.
And I wasn't planning to say this, but just listening to everybody, I wanted to put a little bit of a personal touch on this work. He started his freshman year yesterday at Texas A&M, for all my SEC friends in the room. Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful. The country just feels different. It just...
He's so used to having his, like, I guess, rim. I guess he's just so used to getting rimmed that when people, like, blow his cock in this way, he just isn't even interested anymore. But he looks so bored listening to this. As thank you for saving college football. I assume you're referring to either the college athletes thing that he did, which did not provide nearly enough protection for college athletes. In fact, all it did was provide more power to the corporations that control those college athletes. Or are you talking about the way in which he's attacking the trans community and making sure that they don't have a space that they can feel safe in? Which one is he saving the nation with?
This feels different. There's such a optimism and a love. There's a faith movement going through, especially with our younger Americans. And for those of us with kids in college, I know we feel it. And I experienced it firsthand last week, moving him and my other older son in as well. As we move toward Labor Day, you have made a lot of dreams come true for a lot of people, but one of my longtime dreams was for the right to recapture Labor Day. And I've been talking about this for almost 20 years and writing about it. That why are we ceding the day that we are celebrating the American worker to the Democrats?
Because you don't support labor. It's as simple as that.
This is our day. America was founded and fought for by fishermen and farmers and workmen and et cetera.
And et cetera. And another example.
About the righteousness and the art of creation. And so to be part of this effort to represent the farmers, the ranchers, the agriculture industry.
As you round up the agriculture industry.
I do believe we're in a revolution. 1776 was the first one. 1863 or so with Abraham Lincoln was the second. This is the third with Donald Trump leading the way. And we are saving America. And the idea that we are putting the worker, the very central component of the American dream, at the center of it, is the reason that it is so. So at USDA, it continues to
The
be
worker is put at the
a,
center of it, as every worker is
to
displaced by
find
AI
the
that has
original
been
American worker, much
is
as
trying to be
farmer
unregulated to
is
the
and what they represent.
best of their ability.
And as we are building new systems and new structures, as we have this year going to have the best harvest on record for our row croppers and others, what this team has done and is doing to open up those markets to ensure that these farmers can continue to return prosperity to rural America. I'll finish with this. This morning, we had a working
What have
group
you
with
said?
6 of our farm groups. Bobby Kennedy representing healthcare, Linda McMahon education, Lee Zeldin deregulation, Kelly Leffler small business, Lori Chavez Grimmer labor, and Scott Turner housing, and how you leading the way in your vision, how that will return the golden age to rural America. To the very
Again,
fabric
rural
of our
America is
country.
going to be killed
And
by
whether
this
it's better
administration.
hospitals, better education, more opportunity, less government.
They are all going to
better
die.
and better small businesses, better opportunities for our workers, and better housing, and of course the agriculture piece of that. Through the big, beautiful bill, what it did, the greatest investment.
But housing's not going to get better. You know why? Because everybody that we need to build the houses are being deported. Farming's not going to get better. You know why? Because everybody we need to pick the crops is being rounded up and being sent out of the country. You know, we have machinery that's going to take the job. We have slave labor that's going to replace those people with. So we don't need them anymore. We can get rid of them. It's no problem. Like pretending that you're a friend of the worker when any kind of like unionization effort or any kind of like worker coalition would actually be your downfall and actually begin, or rather actually give bargaining power to the people. You don't want the people to have bargaining power. You want this to be a fascistic takeover. Why would you want them to have bargaining power? That's not a part of the plan. That doesn't help you with your goals. You don't care about labor. You want to get in the way of labor. You want to displace labor. You want to kill labor. You want to make everything a robot because that's going to be cheaper. You can have the robots make the work. You can have the humans work for scraps, and then you can have the ultra wealthy that take all of the wealth of that working class. You know, 5 or 6 people stand on the shoulders of millions. It's been working great so far. It's been going great so far. What's the issue? Why can't we keep it rolling, huh? I want another chapter. As we poise ourselves off the coast of Venezuela, I'm looking forward to another chapter. Oh God. I can't wait for people to start like the pro-war propaganda. Like, no, we need to go to war. It's good that we're dying for our country. It shows that we care. You don't want to die for your country? Wow. Ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-bum. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-bum. 264 copper. We're doing pretty good. I might even make a furnace soon. I might even make a furnace at some point. Who knows? Who knows what the day might hold?
Investment in rural America in history. And now the opportunity to effectuate that is again a game changer, a country saver, and what a joy to be able to do it under your leadership.
Thank you very much. Scott?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so grateful to be here to celebrate Labor Day with the greatest team in America. And it is football season, so I'm happy about that. But Mr. President, I want to say thank you for, as Brooke said, reclaiming Labor Day. And you've been a tremendous champion for the American worker. I come from a hard-working family, as many people around this table do. And so thank you for helping us to change the conversation. And I believe we are changing the conversation around the kitchen table.
Well, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but it's good to know that they do and that they'll go there.
And we have at HUD been very intentional about changing the conversation about the dignity of work. and the dignity and the honor of family formation through work, and how the younger generation, when they see their parents work, how they're incentivized to work. And that, you know, America is not a welfare state, but America was built on small business. It was built on entrepreneurship. And so as it pertains to housing, we're being very focused on that, and even some that receive HUD funding to make sure, like on Section 3, when you receive HUD funding, that you are given opportunities for the most vulnerable Americans that you serve to have work, to have opportunities to work, to have work requirements. Work requirements are not a bad word, that's a great word. Time limits is a great word to incentivize people, able-bodied, able-minded people to work. And I believe that we are, under your leadership, sir, changing that conversation in America to where working is an honorable thing. And Secretary Wright talked about revitalization. Revitalization means to bring new life. And I believe we're bringing new life to America, Mr. President, through work and through all the jobs that people are doing around this table. And with the
These
one
cabinet
big
meetings are
beautiful
insane.
bill,
They're really just a slob fest.
extensive tax break in America.
They're really just sitting on it and
Opportunity
spinning, you know?
zones are now made permanent. And you know how passionate I am, and you are too, sir, about opportunity.
Again, was a CIA workforce working to enable them to accomplish your goals. So as we...
How that's working out, wait times at our hospital are going down because we're getting...
It's just nonsense. So we stop the payment. We've got the money. It's an illegal thing to try to set up a department that's not the Department of Commerce, that kind of acts like the Department of Commerce. And what was it filled with? All these people who work for the Biden administration. I mean, it's exact corruption that you talk about. $7.4 billion now clawed back. Last week was the most fun. In 1 week, Intel came in, right? The Biden administration had given $11 billion to Intel, given it to them, done. Corporate just gift. And you turn that into really, you know, it was like less than 5 minutes of conversation, and Intel agreed to give us 10% of their company, which of course was worth $11 billion. So it's not socialism. This is capitalism. If you give someone $11 billion, who's just building in America, they're not doing something special, they're building in America. And their CEO told the president he didn't need the grant. And you said, well, then why don't we get something for it? So it's amazing. You're going to watch semiconductors come home, right? We don't produce semiconductors. We've got $165 billion for TSMC, but you're going to watch the whole ecosystem come home because Donald Trump is the only president who understands the magnet to make them come home is one word, which used to be a favorite word. Now it's dropped to number 4, which is tariffs, right? Tariffs are going to bring semiconductors home. They are going to empower Bobby to execute MFN. Tariffs are going to be one of those tools that he's going to use to do that. We're going to do it for furniture. We're getting autos. We got steel, aluminum. I mean, it has been a blast, a blast. So 2 more things. The Department of Commerce is going
Let's
to
look
start
up.
issuing its...
What are liberals saying?
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
Oh, how sweet.
This is not about fighting crime. This is about Donald Trump searching for any justice.
Well, oh, that feels like a pretty good place to stop for today. Oh, I'm gonna get back on. Gonna jump back in the loop of things. I have another episode of One Piece to watch tonight that I'm going to watch tonight. I'm quite excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Aside from that, I will be back on tomorrow. I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll stream a little bit longer, I think. But I hope that everybody has a wonderful day. I hope everybody is able to stay safe out there. I hope everybody survives this rat race of a time, survives this horrible time we're going through. But as we move forward, I want to, as always, thank everyone for being here. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, fuckers. Goodbye.